go. All right, so it's an interesting week for the Wizards. I'm going to share this game. So we'll also be live looking in here for the last 2 minutes of the half. Washington was unable to score. Golden State has the ball. We'll see if they're able to score. But this week actually went pretty well. Oof. And Golden State scores. I'm going to stay here for the rest of there's only a minute 25 left. So they're up 67-64 over the Wizards. Wizards try to step back jumper, and it's no good. Golden State rebound. They've just gone cold here. And see if Golden State sets something up here. 16 left on the shot clock. 109 left on the game clock. They try to do a low post move in, but it's a travel. Also hit one of our guys in the face, I think. We get the ball here. 105 left in this second quarter. Bradley Beal is bringing the ball up the court. Minute left now. He sets up the play. Goes to this right side, drives in for the lay-in, and it's good. Wizards are now down 1. It's 67-66 Golden State. 50 seconds left in the half. So they're passing around the perimeter, gets it down low. Wow, an easy pass inside for the dunk. Surprised it wasn't called an and one. There was a lot of contact down low. The Golden State's up 69-66. Wizards have the ball. They pass it out for the three. It's no good. It's short. Golden State's there's 20 seconds left on the shot clock. There's about 2 seconds differential between the shot clock and the game clock. We're down to 10 seconds now on the shot clock with 12 in the game clock. They're driving in. They put the shot up. It's no good. Rebound Golden State. Passes out for three. No good. Oh, another rebound for Golden State Warriors. And this time they put the bucket up and in as the buzzer sounds. And they take the lead going into halftime there. Very frustrating. We got to work on the glass here. Just way too many second chances here for the Golden State Warriors. Just a frustrating ending to a well-played first half, especially the first quarter. They played really well. We'll get into that at the end of the segment. Let's go back now into this Hornets game. A game that the Wizards outscored the Hornets 32-31 in the first. The Hornets actually outscored them by 1 in the second. So it's a tie score at halftime. Wizards actually had a really good third quarter, outscored them 27-15, and then outscored them 30-28 in the fourth quarter, and ultimately ended up winning 118-104. The Wizards' leading scorer was Porzingis with 36. Denny had a great game with 20 points and 13 rebounds. Bradley Beal also had a double-double, 17 points and 10 assists. And Wright also had 10 assists as well. But I'll start off with you, Tim. What were your thoughts on this game?
This was a must-win, I thought, because the Wizards had those terrible, deflating comeback losses last week, and they needed to get healthy and get a easier win against one of the worst teams in the NBA. And I have to admit, I was a little worried because the first half was lackluster. I mean, clearly just to be tied wasn't great against this bad team at home, but they really turned on the intensity in the second half and blew out the Hornets. I thought this was just another example of how Denny and a lot of the big men have thrived since Rui was traded. Obviously, he was a great player to have. Really exciting to have a Japanese star and all the marketing that goes with that. But the Wizards had a logjam at forward, and he was the odd man out. And I think a lot of players are benefiting with those extra minutes. And Denny and Porzingis are just playing better than ever. So this game, they were great. And Even though Kuzma now has missed like 4 straight games, the Wizards are still able to get scoring. So I think that's promising, but they're definitely just kind of cursed. Like they can't get all of the 3 big stars together still, but I was glad they were able to pull this out because if the Wizards lost this game, I mean, I don't know how their psyche would be because after last week they could have easily kind of folded. But good bounce back.
Yeah, Champ, what are some of your thoughts on this game?
I said last week that this was a game that I was afraid of because of the fact that the Charlotte Hornets, their record is indicative of they're very much struggling when it comes to the early part of the season. But the Wizards did come out. It looked like it was going to be a bit of trouble for them in the first half, but then the second half, the third quarter, which I've said for the last 2 or 3 seasons that that's where their Achilles heel is, or that's where they get their strength from. It's the third quarter. They were able to really get out to a big lead in the third quarter, and they hardly ever look back. They had the largest lead they had was 23 points in this game. And then you had some great scoring from Kristaps Porzingis and from Beal. And I mean, what else can you ask for? They shot almost 50% from the field, including 40% from beyond the arc. So they were shooting pretty well in this game. And they only went to the free throw line 17 times, but they only missed 2. So that's an additional 15 points right there. So that's what really made the difference in this game, is being able to shoot pretty well from the field. Second chance points were really on their side as well, meaning they're getting the offensive rebounds and putting them back for points. They were able to out rebound the Hornets, and everything just worked out for the Wizards. And this was a win that they definitely needed against a very subpar Charlotte Hornets team.
Yep, I totally agree with all of that. All right, the next game is against the Pacers. This was an incredible game in terms of scoring, specifically in the first half. In the first quarter, the Wizards outscored them 37-29. In the second quarter, they outscored them 43-28. So if people are keeping track, that's 80 points in the first half, which is one of the highest first half scores, I think, in Wizards history. Just an incredible number. I can't remember another time they've done 80. That's just a crazy. I remember back in the day, 60 was a lot for a halftime, so like 80, I know there's different rules now, but still that's a lot of points. And in the third, they let up a little bit. They got outscored 31-24. They got outscored in the fourth 25-23, but they had built such a sizable lead. They were still able to dominate and have a 127-113 victory. Bradley Beal, 32 points. Denny had another great game with 16 points. But it was just a lot of scoring from a lot of players. It wasn't like 2 or 3 really high scoring players, but you can see Gafford at 13, Kispert 13, Porzingis 17, Morris 17. We talk about Denny at 16, Nunn had 10, Wright had 9. So it was by committee, but the stats were just incredible. I mean, the field goal percentage, 64%, and at one point it climbed over 70% shooting. It was really incredible. And from 3, they had climbed over 50% in the first half, which is really an incredible thing to talk about. But Tim, what were some of your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, incredible first half. I watched this entire game basically from start to finish, mostly because they just couldn't stop scoring. But the Wizards have only hit 80.5 like 4 or 5 times total. And I know the last time was also against the Pacers at home, like a couple years ago, back when Westbrook was on the team. So something about these teams brings out offense. It's always been like that the past couple years, including that play-in game that the Wizards won with no fans against them. Just always high-scoring games, like really bad defense. I mean, the Wizards shot like 70% in the first half. That's just unreal. Like you said, everybody was scoring 6 guys in double figures, almost 7. The Wizards were hitting every shot, great ball movement. They still, though, had a terrible third quarter for the most part. Their Achilles heel. The Pacers came back and cut it to like 11 or 13 a few times, but the Wizards were able to get timeouts and extend the lead. But I don't know about you, but everybody watching seemed to have some deja vu. They were bad vibes because you just think about those 2 games last week and then you're like, here we go again. And even Gooden on the TV broadcast was like making people more nervous because, he's like kind of too honest sometimes. And he's just like, don't lose again. Like, don't lose again. So I was a little nervous, but yeah, I mean, they pulled it out. And the Pacers are reeling. This is a team, you can see their record. They were ahead of the Wizards for months and they're tanking, but I'm glad the Wizards got this win against another team kind of around them in the standings, because these are games that could decide if they make the play-in or not.
Yeah, let's take a look at the current situation. The Wizards are in 9th and the Raptors are in 10th. And we actually have a Raptors fan who just joined us on Twitch chat, Swatter76. He said, "What's up, Robbie? Your Wizards are just like my Raps basketball gods, blasting us with injuries and starting pieces. See you in the play-in." So yeah, both teams are in, talk about the Raptors, are in a very similar situation. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we've tried to talk about, like, do you tank for a good pick? Do you try to play for the play-in? I mean, what's our end goal here? And it's hard to know what the right decision is. But I would not be surprised if we fell into this. This is the worst spot, the 11th spot, where you're not even getting to play in the play-in, so there isn't some excitement. And you're also not getting a great pick. So I just hope that we are able to stay out of that spot. For sure. But Champ, what are some of your thoughts?
All right. So I have some numbers for you. Since Arun's not here, I'll be the stats guy here and talk about the shooting percentage by quarter. In the first quarter, the Wizards shot 75%. Second quarter, 71%. Third quarter, which is usually their Achilles heel, was 62%. The fourth quarter was the most abysmal out of the game, which was 48%. So think about that. The first half, they shot over 70% from the field. They finished off shooting 64% from the field.
But no one can stay that hot for a game, though. I feel like no one starts
Yeah.
off at 70% and ends this. Like, it's so rare. I feel like that's just the basketball gods, right? Like, it always comes back around.
Yeah,
48% isn't terrible. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
normally.
terrible. It's not terrible, especially when you already have established a big lead. It's not like, you shooting 48% caused them to get back into the game. And then when you had such great point production, you had 7 players in double figures in this game. So, I mean, when you have 7 players in double figures, including Bradley Beal going off with 32 points in 31 minutes, and Morris with 17, Abdia with 16, Kendrick Nunn, who's proven to be a great acquisition, has scored 10 points off the bench. Porzingis with 17, Gafford with 13, Kispert with 13. I mean, you got such great scoring output from everybody that you needed to get scoring output from. This is one of those games here where the Wizards were just the better team. And it's very rare to say that. It's been rare to say that the Wizards were a better team in any game, but they were the better team in this game, just like they were the better team in the Hornets game. And they needed this win because they wanted to have this win streak before they went on this West Coast road trip that they're getting ready to go on. And they needed that momentum because they're going, what's going on tonight. They needed it. Absolutely, they needed it.
That's a great segue because we got to talk about tonight, because it's just it started off so well and it's kind of fallen apart. So we're gonna do a little bit of a halftime show right now, and then we will preview what our thoughts are of the second half, and then we'll do a quick take a look at the schedule ahead, and then I do want us to raid into this raid train. So let's go back here. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the last game.
There it is. The Wizards scored 39 points in the first quarter to the Golden State Warriors 29, but then they allowed 42 points in that second quarter while we were talking about them. So they're definitely doing a lot better before I tuned in. But it's frustrating because to have such a great start, but then to give it up so easily. These teams are in very similar positions. The Warriors are 28 and 28 right now, right around 500. We're right now 26 and 29, just below 500. But we're in similar situations right now. Porzingis has 18 points in tonight's game. Bradley Beal has 16. But no Kuzma in tonight's game. Denny has played okay, but not great. Kendrick Nunn has 11 points, so that's good. But on the other side for the Warriors, Klay Thompson's put up 20 points already. He's having himself a really good game. Wiggins 11, Draymond only 4, Devontae DiVincenzo 11, it's been a rough second quarter for them. Tim, what are some of your thoughts?
Something weird about the Wizards. It's great that they have these strong first quarters. They've had a lot of winning first quarter basketball where they build up a big lead, but they also always have a huge letdown later in the game. So sometimes it's the third or fourth quarter. Today it was the second. Just giving up way too many points. Frustrating, but I think they can come back and win this game. Clearly without, they didn't make many trades at the deadline, so they're going for it this year. And this is a game you want to probably win 2 out of 3 on the West Coast before the All-Star break.
Especially a game without Steph Curry. Like, you got to take advantage of that. Champ, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you, Robbie. You have to take advantage of going up against the defending NBA champs when they don't have their best player in Steph Curry, who's still out with an injured knee. But yeah, they started off really strong in that first quarter. Like I've been watching from the start, and they were really going after Golden State in that first quarter, and it looked like, okay, this is gonna be the tempo and the tone that they're setting in this game. But then Golden State showing why they are the defending champions, coming back in that second quarter and absolutely grinding down the Wizards, and now they sit with a 5-point lead as we are in the half. And the Wizards, they have to defend the 3-point shot much better. As you can clearly see, the Warriors are shooting 50% from beyond the arc. So are the Wizards, but they've taken 6 less 3-pointers than the Warriors. So they definitely have to defend the 3-point basket much better if they're going to win this game, because clearly the Warriors can shoot from 3, especially Klay Thompson. But Kristaps Porzingis, which is crazy as a center, can make the 3-point shot as well, even though it looks so flat and like no art to it, but somehow he makes it. So they're definitely going to have to really buckle down on defense. They're going to have to prevent second chance points. There were a couple of times where especially the second quarter, the Warriors had offensive rebounds and putbacks for 2 points and things like that. They got to clean that up, and they got to stop that from happening. They got to get those defensive boards and be able to stop them from getting those second chance points and be able to really ramp it up offensively. Defensively, they got to get it together, but offensively, they got to get it together as well.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is look at how many more shots they took, 47-38, especially when the Wizards were winning at the end of the first quarter. Like, it's all second chance opportunities. Like, you put up that many more opportunities, you're going to make some of them. And also points in the paint. We just seem like to be a sieve at times. And I know that we're going to give up some threes or whatever, but we just got to be good at rebounding, which, as we just did, we got a big rebound right there. We're down 5 to start the third quarter here. It's 11-11, and buckets for it's a 3-point basket for Bradley Beal, number 3.
That's his 7 away from 15,000.
Nice. So he's 2. So we're down by 2 right now. And Golden State right away, right back, 3-point shot, returns to a 5-point lead. That was Wiggins. And it was a heat check, I believe, for Bradley Beal, and did not go down. But fortunately for us, Golden State also goes for the 3 and misses. So let's take a look at the upcoming schedule, and I'll keep on updating people with the current game. We're playing the Trailblazers tomorrow at 10 p.m. On Thursday, we played the Timberwolves at 8 p.m. On Friday. All right, sorry, those are the 2 games.
Yeah, that's after the break.
That's after the break, right? So, so 2 games left before the break, and in this Trailblazers game, So I'm looking back at the recent games for the Portland Trailblazers. Currently, they are playing against the Lakers. They are dominating the Lakers. But that's good that they're also playing tonight. So it's not one of those situations where they're catching us on a back-to-back and they're not. They don't have to go anywhere though. Both of their games are there. I wish that more of those happened for us and other Washington sports. But overall, the Thunder beat them recently. They're beating the Lakers. They were able to beat these same Warriors last Wednesday, 125-122. And right before that, the Bucks were able to beat them. But Tim, what are your thoughts on playing the Trailblazers, a team that you have followed closely before?
I'm predicting a win for the Wizards here. I think this is a revenge game because remember, the Wizards were dominating Portland in the first half in DC, and the Wizards had one of their two terrible collapses. So I think the Wizards are going to come out pissed off and take this game. Also, this is a road series for whatever reason. The road team tends to win almost every time. So I like the Wizards there tomorrow. Obviously, the schedule is tough, but they're going to be tired too. The Lakers Blazers actually is a little bit of a rivalry there. Like that's always a sellout, and I think probably they're going to have a little bit of an emotional letdown tomorrow. Maybe I'm just being a homer, but I think this is a good game for the Wizards. And although Portland has a slightly better record than the Wizards, they're way down like 13th place. So I don't know if they're necessarily playing, for a lot this year.
Although they are playing well right now. But anyway, I agree with that same interesting play right down low. Gafford got a rebound, went back up with it. And there was a foul called, but they're reviewing it. And so we'll see if he Draymond says he got all ball, and we'll see if he's right. But I just thought it's an interesting choice. You only get one review, right, in the whole game, and so
yeah, you get one.
It's just I'm surprised you'd use it on a foul in the third quarter. I feel like later in the game you'd want to save that. But Champ, what are your thoughts? You think that's a good use of a review?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if it turns out that Draymond did get all ball, then it'll turn out to be a good review challenge. But if it isn't, then Steve Kerr is going to look dumb by using that lone challenge this early on in the second half. But
even if he is right, though, I don't know. For me, like one foul isn't like I want to say that for if a player is like fouling out, but it's not real, or something else later in the game. I just feel like the upside is you get the ball, and you don't get free throws and one less foul, I guess, on Draymond, but I don't know if
you also have to think about with how high scoring this game is, every possession counts. And if you could take away a possession from the Wizards and with the way that your team is scoring, I would think you would take that opportunity. Like as weird as that sounds, I think that's probably the mindset that Steve Kerr has is that, hey, every possession is going to count here because of how high the scoring has been. They're already at well over 100 points, and we're only like not even midway through the third quarter. So clearly it's going to be a game where it's going to go over 100 points for both teams. So clearly they know how much that's going to mean. That's a foul, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's a foul too. I'm gonna be interested to see what the call is. They haven't announced yet.
You randomly see challenges in the first half sometimes. I feel like third quarter is probably
It's better.
Borderline when you should use it because you never know. Maybe there won't be any questionable calls left. So
well, it stood.
It stood. So bad call. And I get his ego is big, but oh, good, he made the free throw. I thought he was gonna miss it. I was like, oh.
Well, you have to understand. You have to understand. Steve Kerr is down with the 420, so he might not be in the right stand with my. Okay, never mind. Right.
Yeah, so
he's doing something right. He's won what, like 5 titles, or as a player too, won 3. So
Oh, that second free throw by Gafford looked a lot nicer. Do more of that. So they're down 4-8, 8:49 left in the third quarter. Wiggins is taking the ball up the side, but let's get back to the
The
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers.
Yes, Ken, what are your thoughts on them?
I think this is a winnable game as well. Both teams will be coming off a back-to-back. So the only difference though is that Washington has to travel to Portland from San Francisco. So they're gonna be most likely jet lagged and things like that. So they're gonna be at a slight disadvantage, and their legs may not be as under them as the Portland Trailblazers, who are hosting this game. But I feel like this is a winnable game for them. And as Tim mentioned earlier on, this is definitely a revenge game after they gave up a 20 plus point lead, and Portland was able to beat them in DC. They're going to be looking to really get back at them, but they're definitely going to have to be mindful of Damian Lillard. Dame Dollar is nothing to scoff at. He's averaging 31 points per game this season. So clearly he's going to be a difference maker when it comes to Portland. So if they are able to deal with him, they're able to win this game. So I feel like they're going to win this game and really do some damage. Hopefully have a really good part of this road trip on the West Coast in the West Coast part of this road trip on a positive note.
Yeah, so they traded baskets, but then the Wizards missed theirs, but Golden State also missed their basket. But again, rebound, 3-point bucket. So like it's a second chance, and now it's ballooned to 10. So it's these opportunities here where like it's about equal in their shooting, but they're just getting all these second opportunities that we're not, and it's currently the difference in this game. Whoa. It's a double dribble?
Double
What?
dribble.
How is that not contact enough for a foul? But anyway, let's see here. Right. Oh, nope, that's the right call.
Yeah, unfortunately.
From the other angle, it looked like a foul, but yeah. Anyway, a jump ball. Why is it a jump ball?
That's interesting.
They probably decided they didn't know what the right call is. They're allowed to do a jump ball if they're just like, we have no effing idea. So
Yeah. Interesting. Well, you'll take that off that replay. So
yeah, it's better than a turnover.
yeah. And does any player get to take it at center? It's just
I thought it should be the two players close. I don't know the rule on that one though. Maybe you can choose.
yeah, because I don't
That's
think
rare. It's a rare thing.
yeah.
They'll do it if like they don't know who it went out on or something.
Yeah. Well, Porzingis just won the tip, so I'll take it. 6:48 left in the third quarter here. Bradley Beal is the top of the arc, and he drives, penetrates in, and a bucket. It's a lot of contact. They're letting a lot of stuff fly.
Nice.
But a good basket. Oh, nice poke check right there.
Nice.
Bradley Beal. Oh, he
All
goes for
right.
the three, but not. But oh god. Oh,
You got to be shitting me.
finally we got a rebound there, so that's good. All right, 79-87. So they're still down 8 here as they try to regroup. Bradley Beal needs 1 point for 15,000 in his career, so we're kind of keeping it here. Oh, missed pretty easy bucket from free throw line. Wiggins has got the ball, passes it up. Oh no. Oh, good rebound. Nice. All right, Wizards are up on the court. Back to Bradley Beal, who takes the jump shot. It's up. It's no good.
Oh, come on, guys.
Warriors get the ball. So they're up 87-79. They're up 8 here. And then the game on Thursday is going to be against the Timberwolves. And so I'll pull up the recent schedule for the Timberwolves here. They also played today. They beat the Mavericks 124-121. The Grizzlies beat them in the game before on Friday. They were able to beat the Jazz 143-118. So they're able to put up 143 points in that game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens They don't actually have a game between now and Thursday, so we'll be a little bit more tired when we play that. Porzingis gets fouled right there. Same score, 87-79. But Tim, what are your thoughts on the Timberwolves?
This is going to be a tough road game because the T-Wolves are a playoff quality team. Obviously Wizards don't play them a lot. Probably the Wizards won't take this one, but I mean, they're not a juggernaut. I think the Wizards have a chance, but just with all that extra rest and them playing at home, they're a good team. I'm probably predicting a loss here.
Yeah. So we make the first free throw, I believe. So it's 80-87 now, with one more coming for Kristaps Porzingis, and he makes both and cuts it to a 6-point game again with 5:13 left in the third. Champ, what are your thoughts on the Timberwolves?
Right. So I have to agree with Tim that the Timberwolves that play in a very tough conference in the West, they're only in 8th place in the Western Conference. So clearly they're going to be a tough team. And then the fact that they are going to have more rest than the Wizards, who are going to be traveling from Portland to Minnesota, that's going to play to their advantage. But I feel like the Wizards, especially if they can get going against the Warriors and beat the Warriors and then beat Portland, I think they're going to have that momentum coming in. I don't foresee a win, but they're going to play the Minnesota Timberwolves very hard, and they're going to really bring the fight to Minnesota. And I think it's going to be a very close game as Kristaps Porzingis gets an and one.
Yes, that was a nice play. Good take right down the center of the lane, and foul, but he's strong enough to get it up and in. The foul is on Wiggins there, I believe, down low, and we'll see if he can complete, and he does the 3-point play. So now it's 89-84, down to a 5-point game, 4:35 left. I agree. It's going to be an interesting week for the Wizards here. We're going to stick with it for just a couple of minutes longer with this live game. I'm gonna stop the screen share, but was it the dunk? No, it's a foul on Bradley Beal, right? Yeah. So it's been a close matchup. I'm happy to see that they're playing pretty well. Let's see what's here. Wow, he's throwing his elbows around like crazy in that replay. I'm surprised that's anyway. Wiggins makes the first free throw. They are now up 90-84. To speak to Champ's point, I think definitely Golden State's going to probably break 100 before the end of this third quarter here. He makes both, so it's 91-84 here. But it's
I just got an
game.
alert from my NBA app that Dame Lillard had a 30-point half with 8 threes against the Lakers. And that's what we have to deal with tomorrow.
On the bright side, it's rare to have a really great shooting night 2 nights in a row for most NBA players. Like, I mean, I'm sure it'll still be good, but you hope that maybe he shot himself out of it in the first game. But they make another bucket again. They're up now 93-84. I was just trying to see if we could live talk about Brad's breaking this 1500, but he keeps on passing up the ball. Oh God, another turnover. Yeah, we may have to just be done.
Goodness.
Throughout the Wizards tonight. But we'll
also we didn't talk about Bradley Beal getting fined $25K for making contact with an official on Saturday.
I didn't even hear about that. So
he definitely pushed the ref too. I was surprised he didn't get like ejected because it was like pretty blatant. It wasn't a hard push and the ref was in his way, but it was clearly like on the video, he did the pushing motion to the ref being like, just get out of my way, man. Like I need to get this loose ball. So I thought he got kind of lucky, but
yeah. So the NBA communications wing, they released a statement about 5 hours ago on Twitter that said that Washington Wizards guard Bradley Beal has been fined $25,000 for making contact with the game official. It occurred with 8:26 remaining in the third quarter of Washington's 127-113 victory over the Indiana Pacers on February the 11th at Capital One Arena.
Interesting. All right. Well,
So he's $25,000 lighter in his pocket because of that.
For sure. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up here because the Wizards were doing better when we weren't on air. So let's see if they can do better again. And we'll definitely have the rest of the third quarter and the fourth quarter to check out. We're going to be joining on a raid train right now. The raid train number is up to $10,431. So thank you everyone for donating and being a part of that. If anyone did donate from my stream, please let me know in chat. If you do, I'll definitely give you a shout out. But I really appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. I'm going to let these guys have their final thoughts, and then I'm going to let them go. Tim, I'll let you go first. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, I just thought great Super Bowl. I hope the Wizards have another good week, and I like the charity event. I think it's a good idea, and hope you guys raise a ton of money and have a good couple days left.
Thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate your time. As always, we'll have you back on next week for episode 300.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to it. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
See ya.
So thank you, Tim. And Champ, let people know what's happening on the No Spots podcast this week.
Absolutely. So No Spots podcast will be streaming live on Twitch on Friday evening as we will be live reacting to a WWE Elimination Chamber, which is taking place in Montreal, Quebec, Canada on Saturday. Friday, we will be previewing that said pay-per-view / premium live event, as well as looking back at the final build towards that event, and also other wrestling action as well, plus other wrestling news that's going on, including any breaking news that happens between now and Friday. So make sure you check us out on twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod, or make sure you check out the podcast partners button on SportsOTHP.com. You can also check out last week's episode where Sith and I finally revealed our favorite matches of 2022. And it's a very, very unique list. So make sure you go check that out if you are a wrestling fan and see if your favorite match ends up on our list or not.
That's awesome. And I want to thank all of our lurkers and people for joining in on Twitch today. I also saw that Swatter said, mark it down, Robbie. March 2nd and 4th, back-to-back games against the Raptors. Important game for positioning. I wish your team well coming in, buddy. So that'll definitely be some interesting stuff in March. We've got a lot of important games coming up that we'll definitely break down. And then the All-Star game comes the following weekend, right? After next weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes, next week. It's next weekend, I believe, because I know that. Well, it's funny because, again, this is wrestling related. I know that AEW Rampage, which usually airs on TNT, is actually airing at, I believe, 7 p.m. this weekend. But I think it's going to have a special start time next weekend because of the fact TNT does have coverage of the All-Star festivities on Friday, and Rampage usually airs on Friday at 10 p.m. And with the NBA All-Star game happening in Salt Lake City, Utah, I'm sure that Rampage will have to have another different start time outside of the 10 p.m. start time because of the All-Star festivities and things like that.
Yeah, so the game is actually this weekend, Sunday, February 19th at 8 p.m. if people are interested.
Yeah, okay, so it is this weekend. That's why Rampage is actually having a 7 p.m. start time instead of a 10 p.m. start time because of the All-Star festivities.
Yeah, so anyway, will be the 3-point shooting, the dunk contest, all that sort of stuff. So maybe next week as part of 300, we'll talk about some of that if any of the guys are going to check that out as well. So
you know what, since you mentioned that, I may actually watch the 3-point shootout and the dunk contest just so I can be able to talk about it, because normally I don't watch it, because especially the dunk contest, because I've seen every dunk you can do, because I watched when Vince Carter went off in the dunk contest when he was with Toronto way back when. A lot of people may not have been old enough for that one, but I watched when Vince Carter absolutely went off in the dunk contest. But I might actually watch that the All-Star skills games just so I could be able to talk about it and things like that. I may or may not watch the All-Star game itself because we already know it's going to be like a high scoring game and things like that. But, maybe I might watch it just to see what happens. I just hate the fact that there are no Wizards in the All-Star game. That's what kills me, is that there's not a single Wizard in the All-Star game this year.
It's so frustrating. The Wizards
Jeez.
just falling apart. 104-86 now, just utter collapse the last 2 minutes. But interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, I'll try to catch some of the highlights at least, and catch part of it, and we'll maybe talk a little bit about it if people end up catching it next week as part of 300. So yeah, next week, episode 300. Super excited about it. Hopefully Carol will be returning to the podcast. We'll have Carol, Gil, and myself talk hockey. We'll then talk a little bit about the 300 shows that we've done, some of the highlights. And then we will also talk a little XFL. We may have some guests on for that. And we'll talk about the Wizards, these 2 games, and maybe the All-Star break. So big show next week for episode 300. If anybody doesn't follow us on Twitch and you'd like them to, we're only 5 followers away from my goal of trying to hit 500 followers by episode 300. So we'll see if we can get that done. If not, it'll be a goal to try to do it before the end of the season. Thank you, everybody. Variety Charity just actually followed us. I appreciate that. We've been doing a show where we've been highlighting the charity all night, so I appreciate that as well. And thank you, Champ, for being a part of this podcast tonight. I'm going to end our Facebook Live stream right now, but thank you for everyone for tuning into the audio podcast. I hope that everyone tunes in and shares the link to the donation page and is able to make donations for a really great cause. All the donate links are on the Facebook description as well. So thank you for tuning in for the audio podcast, and it'll be in the show notes as well for all the links for all the charities. But thank you, everyone on Facebook.
Arigato, sayonara.
And with that, we're gonna stop the recording on this side.
Recording stopped.
But thank you. I appreciate the follow. We are live here. We are going to be raiding into October Ember. We were listening to them before. I'm going to quickly change it around. We're going to share the screen with them.
Jesus Christ.
So
Wow.
we are going to get here, and we're going to listen to them for a little bit while we raid out.
This is one of OE's coolest songs, but I mean that in the most sincere way. Thanks, Richard.
I hope you all are able to join us for this raid. We're going to raid into the raid train right now. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this.
To us, really.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Champ, as always.
Let me get some music.
And we got raid and sub raid in the chat. Thank you, mods, for modding as always. And Swatters, thank you for joining us in chat. I really appreciate you for coming through. We'll talk more about it maybe next week. Thank you, everybody.
Sayonara.
So much. You're so good.
Have a good one, Champ, and we'll talk to you guys all soon.
Good night. Good night. Y'all have fun.
I don't need it here. Silly of me. My bad.